Hello again, everyone. This is Chris Sciria. That's Robert Harding. And welcome to a special edition of the Citizens.
They're all special.
Punt, Pass, and Chat podcast. Pick 6, special edition, playoff wild card round video.
Boom!
Thank you. I was looking forward to that.
It'll make up for the asterisk that is week 17.
Yes, I did. I watched the video and I did leave out the last part there, the chat part.
16-0-1 ain't bad, folks.
No, let's say
We'll call it a
16-1. It's not. I'm not the undefeated Dolphins of 72, but nobody's perfect except them. Anyways,
it was your Garo Premium.
My Garo Premium. I tried to throw the ball and it flubbed it up, and
it happened.
Next thing you know, but the Dolphins still won that game. Anyways, it's wild card round. This is the opening weekend of the NFL playoffs. It's a fun weekend. We got some good games, and I think what's even cooler, whether it will play a role in these games, and that makes it even more fun. So with that, let's get started. Our first game on Saturday. This is the early game, 4 o'clock start. The Kansas City Chiefs, 11-5, at the Indianapolis Colts, 11-5. And these two teams played against each other earlier this season, just a couple weeks ago, and it was a good game. No, it was a rout. I'm kidding. I'm trying to make the audience feel like, wow, this no drama here.
You're a hell of a comic, Chris.
Yeah. I'll tell you, this game is very intriguing because the Colts, I think, are overrated, believe it or not. I think they took advantage of a very weak AFC South. They got fat off the AFC South. And if you look at the Chiefs, they were second in a very difficult AFC West. I mean, the Chargers made the playoffs. Obviously, the Broncos have the number 1 seed. And the Chargers held their own in that division. So, I'm sorry, the Chiefs held their own in that division. And I think Andy Reid is a very playoff-tested veteran coach. And Alex Smith's played in a couple playoff games with the Niners. I like that playoff experience. And we all know home field isn't everything. The Colts, they made the playoffs last year, went out in the first round. They're still a young team. I like the Chiefs in this game. I like the Chiefs on the road to beat the Colts.
I'm going with the Colts. At home, in the playoffs. I don't know why. Just
all right.
Going out on a limb, I think, with this one. The Chiefs on paper, to me anyway, and I think to you too, seem to be the better team in this matchup. But, playoffs are a different story. We've seen it time and time again where, teams will play in the regular season, then you get a different outcome in the playoffs, when they do meet up. I think it'll be a close game. I don't think it'll be a high-scoring affair, but, if the Colts can keep Jamal Charles in check and Alex Smith, limit him a little bit in the passing game, I think this will be a Colts win. I think they'll advance in the playoffs.
Our late game on Saturday is New Orleans at Philadelphia. The Saints were 11-5. The Eagles 10-6 won the NFC East there, and Chip Kelly's first year. I'll tell you, the Saints, everybody's saying that they can't win on the road. They were 3-5 on the road during the regular season. Cold weather's going to affect them. I'll tell you, I disagree with that. I like the Saints in this game. I just think that the Eagles, not experienced in the postseason, I want to think that for the Saints that there's redemption here, that they have not played well the last few weeks, and I think that's a new season. I think Drew Brees is as playoff tested as any quarterback in the NFL is going to come out. And I think the weather is not going to be that bad. It will be chilly, but I don't think it's going to be snowing. So I think that helps the Saints out. And, I think this is the gut talking here, but I like the Saints in this game. I'm going with New Orleans on the road.
I'm going to take the Eagles at home.
Wow, we're different on everything here.
Yeah, this isn't going to be pretty if I lose this.
Yeah.
But, I think the Eagles have shown this year after, quite a stretch for them going into last season and then the early part of this season where they would lose home games, which is, for any team really uncharacteristic, especially a team that's middle of the road to, better than average like the Eagles. But I think they've proven this year that Chip Kelly offense, that fast-paced style rather, is working for them. Mm-hmm. And if Nick Foles and LaShawn McCoy are clicking, I'd watch out if I were the Saints. The defense for the Saints has improved, but there's still some weaknesses there. I just like the Eagles at home in this one.
All right. Our first Sunday game is in Cincinnati, and it has the wild card, the 6th seed, that's 9-7 Chargers, who got in because the Dolphins and the Ravens both lost, against the Cincinnati Bengals, who are 11-5 and the AFC North champions. And every year it seems like, I shouldn't say every year, but the last couple of years the Bengals have made the playoffs and they've lost in the first round. Both years to the Texans.
Yep.
This is the year they break through. They're at home. They're perfect 8-0 at home. Everything's lined up for them. I just think that they have confidence this year. And the Chargers are a good team, and they could beat the Bengals. I don't doubt that. I believe did they beat the Bengals earlier this year in San Diego, I think, or was it? I'm trying to remember now.
It's been a long season.
It's been a long season.
But I think they have played each other.
They have.
And I think it was a good game,
yes.
if I remember correctly.
So the Bengals, they barely sold the game out, but that being said, it is going to be a packed house. I think the crowd's going to come into play. And I like the way the Bengals played last week against the Ravens. I mean, the Bengals really didn't have a lot to play for. There was an outside chance they could have had a better playoff seeding if some other teams had lost, but that didn't happen. But even then, they came out and they shellacked the Ravens. And I like that sign. I think this team just has confidence. They got a killer instinct right now, and I just like that. So I'm going with the Bengals against the Chargers.
They're a tough team to pick against at home, but I'm going with the Chargers.
Whoa, man.
Going with the Chargers.
Wow.
The Chargers, this is a team that, over the last several weeks I've really fallen in love with. I think they're playing well on the defensive side of the ball, and Phillip Rivers is playing as well as pretty much any quarterback in the league right now. I mean, he's really gotten his act together. I think Mike McCoy helps that. And I think in a game like this for the Bengals, it's a home game. They've won all year there. It's tough to pick against them, but I just, for some reason, I like the Chargers in this one. The Chargers have, for the last several years, and I mentioned this on the podcast yesterday, they've always played, in these types of games, they've played up to, a really good level. And, I just like their chances in this one, and I'm going to take them.
All right. Well, 6th seed can win sometimes. It does happen. So
you never know.
The last game of the wild card weekend, I think maybe the best game. San Francisco, 11-5, at the 8-7 Green Bay Packers. Now, obviously, the Packers, much different team with Aaron Rodgers quarterbacking. They came back last week, won on the road against a tough Bears squad, and took the NFC North. The Niners, they've put in a good string of games together the last month or so. I think they've won their last 4 or 5 games, and they've really put it together. But something, this game's going to be in Green Bay. It's going to be about 40 degrees below with the wind chill. And I don't think San Francisco is equipped to play under those conditions. I think Green Bay is. Like I said, it's just one of those games where neutral field, I go with the Niners. But in being at Lambeau, being with the conditions, I like Green Bay in this game. Ice Bowl, too, if you want to call it that, but I'm going with the Packers.
We agree on something.
Wow, 1 for 4.
I'm taking the Packers.
All right.
I think the conditions favor them. It's going to be really cold this weekend in Green Bay, just like it is here in central New York right now.
That's why I'm wearing the sweater, folks. Yeah. I got the Norwegian sweater on.
Very nice.
It's cold.
Yeah, it is cold, inside and out.
Yes.
But, in this game, if you asked me a week ago, would I take the 49ers over the Packers, I'd probably take the Niners. But, with Aaron Rodgers, and he came back and he looked good playing against the Bears. Yeah. And that's a good